Hasbro has had a very good fourth quarter, and they're looking to expand that position with Wizards of the Coast. Now, in today's video, we are going to discuss those results and what it likely means for you, the player, in the upcoming year of 2025 and into 2026. If you, as a Magic player, were looking for any warning signs in the fourth quarter call from Hasbro to all its shareholders, this was the warning. Now we have to find out what's going to happen. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thank you again for hanging out with me for another video day. Now, in case you guys didn't know, all kinds of these fourth quarter earnings calls come in like quarters. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. Fourth quarter is the end of the year. It's where everything's wrapped up and they say how they did overall. Guys, it's big. There's a few indicators that some of their prices are down. You'll see these little tiny, almost like comments coming in that signal maybe things aren't as great. And there's going to be other probably content creators who are going to emphasize that. But you have to read between the lines. You have to know as a shareholder, understand what the marketing guys are asking you and all these big wigs from all the big banks to say how healthy your company is. When they talk about 2025 being a big year, they know it's going to be a big year. Now, the reason we know this is they've been trimming all kinds of workers, production lines, selling off excess, fatty stuff they don't really need in the company anymore. They know where their bread is buttered, and they are trying to expand that position. No, sorry, they're not trying. They are going to expand that position. And that means you. That's right, you. You, the front row. No, you don't have to raise your hand. It's you. You're the one they're after. The Magic player. Yeah, they talk a little bit about Dungeons and Dragons. They're licensing out IP stuff all over the place. Yes, it's generating a ton of revenue. But that backbone that's holding up the entire world that is Hasbro, like Atlas leading over, that's coming from Wizards of the Coast. Digital as well as physical cards, that segment of the company, that's the bad boy of comedy. That's the villain who's chilling. Guys, when they looked and made those comments, and the fact that Chris Cox steps up and says, well, you know, he's smiling at home. You can't see it, but we're imitating how he feels. Well, you know, the Lord of the Rings, the pre-orders for all that stuff, it's sold out in like 3 weeks. You notice I'm still smiling. But with Final Fantasy, it's sold out in a couple hours. The fact he mentions that in a fourth earning call, instead of like making that a comment in the first quarter about how well things are going, that tells you how insane the pre-orders are going for Final Fantasy. He made a comment, and that would be an off-the-cuff comment because he wouldn't have known that was happening. Now, 2 bits of information here I want you guys to remember. If you've even made it this far, 3 minutes into the video. If you made it this far, good for you. What gets me about comments like this is when you're looking at that, and he makes that off-the-cuff comment about how well Final Fantasy is already selling and how insane it's probably going to be, and that it might beat Lord of the Rings. He's not wrong is the problem. He's not wrong. I've got email after email after email from some of the stores I deal with saying, what is going on? They're asking me if I know anything, especially the smaller stores. You got the bigger guys saying, it's going to be good. Okay? And then you got Chris Cox who makes that comment and says it may beat out Lord of the Rings as the all-time highest selling Magic the Gathering product. That's big. Can you imagine topping Lord of the Rings? We have some fans of Final Fantasy out there, and he knows it. But it also tells us, after he made those comments, look how fast they're getting the information. Look how fast that information is traveling through the interweb of distribution, stores, news cycles, content creators. He gets all that data, palm of his hand, and makes that comment. That's a positive signal to Hasbro. Stock goes up. This is a really good thing for Hasbro. Okay, it's huge. Now, he calls this, by the way, I'm not sure if people caught this, they call this the growing up. This is what they're trying to cater to, the growing up. They are trying to appeal to the big kid who is now an adult. Okay, instead of adults being adults, which I guess, maybe in the 1950s we didn't do this kind of stuff. We had hobbies like watching sports and stuff. Now we collect things. We buy things. We enjoy things like never before. Whether that's the $500 Optimus Prime or a collector box from Magic the Gathering or really expensive D&D stuff, no matter where you're looking, this growing up cycle of Hasbro is them maturing in the audience to buy expensive, high-end items. That's you, front row, who didn't raise your hand. That's you. And it's working. It's not only working, it is working exceptionally well, considering they have downsized all kinds of market areas that Hasbro controls and kind of condensed things into like a narrow funnel of top shelf items and IPs they want to focus on. They are making a lot of money. Even in a downtrended market, they're making a lot of money. Now, yes, they have write-offs. They have other things they get to capitalize off and say, we get some tax breaks here, a few things there. And later on, that's not going to matter. We're going to have to pay more tax later. They make sure they mention this to the shareholders. But the idea that they're still talking about a productive year with growth, market share, and profitability, all those words coming around, and they're like backslapping, congratulating themselves. Oh, they've got us. And the vocal minority of people out there, who is a lot of us, talking about how expensive the products are and really hammering home, it's like hitting a concrete cinder block reinforced wall with coated in steel, adamantium plated, and it's soundproofed. Because the masses are still buying this stuff because they love it. And they love it so much, and Hasbro knows we love it. And they've just got us. I understand this is probably not my most professional video today. I get that. I can't help but just comment on this and say this is a big deal. We've talked before about all these earnings calls. About, first quarter didn't go well for them. Magic still did okay, but overall it wasn't going well. Second quarter was not that great. Third quarter started to turn around. They had all the shelf items being knocked off. We've had lawsuits in between this. Now we have the fourth earnings call where everyone's back padding because they fired a bunch of people, slimmed out everything, and they've become profitable again. Well, Wall Street likes that. Shareholders like that. Stock prices go up. They've knocked off they're on track to knock off $750 million in debt. They think they can get it to $1 billion of debt knocked off and green lighted, and we're going to see more money on the ground floor. That's insane. Guys, there's not much to say when I say, vote with your wallet. Don't buy these products. You can do that. You have the right to vote with your wallet. You have the right to pick and choose things you choose to spend, but this is a hobby and a game that a lot of us enjoy. And there's a lot of artwork and conceptual artwork and IPs all coming to bear. There are secret layers like the Princess Bride we talked about, or the Evil Dead secret layer that were like $50 that are now $250. Because people didn't buy them at the time, they reminisce, they want to go back, they want to buy it. They love the Transformers cards, they love these IPs of their childhood coming out, this growing up cycle. And now we are face to face where although they didn't get the 30th anniversary past the gates, instead they took 2 steps back and said, well, what can we pump up that people will buy? And we'll give them a good product and they'll love us for it. And that's what they've done. Not all their products have to stick to the wall, just a few of them, to make that bottom line go green, to make them some serious money, and that's where we have ourselves at. A good fourth quarter, a green light for the go-ahead going into 2025, 2026, to continue on this path they're taking, with higher-end products, including all these high-end, serialized cards, expensive collector boxes. They're going to keep that trend going. They're probably going to try and knock it up a few ducats, charge you a few extra bucks on top of what they normally would charge, but they'll do it very incrementally. They'll do it very slowly. But enough that it's good for the shareholder, enough that the company can say they're making inroads into that higher tier of consumer. The obsessed type of player who just says, this is so awesome, I can't pass on it. And there's lots of us out there. There are certain products, if they make it, I will not pass up. Just like Lord of the Rings, I won't pass up on certain things, and a lot of you guys won't either. We may grumble and groan about it. We may go the singles route, but those products are still being opened. Those products are still being bought, and they know it. They got us. They mentioned it in the fourth quarter call. They know what's going on. And they're very pleased. But are you pleased? Are you guys happy with how it's going? Are you glad we're getting some of these Universes Beyond products? Are you excited by some of them? The answer for some of you is going to be yes and no, and Mox, man, this is unfair, and I understand all those emotions. I do. But when I do a video like this today, and I'm just kind of rambling on a bit about all these crazy things going on that they've mentioned in that fourth quarter earnings call, and I didn't break this down, I wanted you guys to feel how I feel. I feel excited. I feel fearful. I still love the game, and I can't wait to play this weekend. And somewhere in between all that, I have to manage the books and make sure I don't overspend. Because some of these things are going to end up in my background here. Some of these things are going to end up being prizes for patrons. Some of these things are just too awesome to pass up on. Can't help it. Love the game too much. Yeah, I like the reserve list the best because of the old school cards I grew up with. But I got to be honest. If they hit some of the key IPs I really love, like G.I. Joe, I don't have a chance. And a lot of us out there, a lot of you guys out there, there's something you really love that much, you probably won't be able to pass it up either. Anyway, thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for being here with the Mox, man. I hope I gave you guys a little bit of insight, a little bit of information, and you had a little fun while you were here because the fourth quarter earning call is a serious thing. I've read it. I listened to it a couple times. If you're this far in the video now, oh my goodness, we're 11 minutes in already. If we are at this part of the video, let's remember, the company's in the business of making money, but at this point when they narrow their focus, they actually don't want to upset the consumer. It's a more narrow, focused group of people they're appealing to. They're going to try to keep on track with this stuff. Yeah, they're still trying to make money, but they won't try to upset you as much. Keep that in mind. Let me know what you guys think. Drop some comments in the comment section. Share it. Sharing is caring. Care Bear Countdown. We're talking about cartoons and stuff, right? We're talking about IPs. Where's the Smurfs? Fraggle Rock? Dungeons and Dragons, 80s style? Come on, you know it's true. So many great cartoons out there. Can you imagine if they do the Saturday morning cartoon D&D? Nobody's watching this far in. Can you imagine if they do this as an entire set of those kind of retro type cards? I mean, everything. The whole show. Individual cards, not mask over cards. Give me War Duke and stuff. It'd be so awesome. Guys, thanks a lot. Have a great one. Here at the end of the video, as the credits start to roll, I want to make sure we say a thank you and appreciation to all the amazing patrons and supporters of my channel that I have. There are hundreds of you out there, and if it wasn't for you, this kind of content would not be possible every day. So in case somebody ever forgets to mention it, you guys are awesome. You make this channel come alive, and I want to thank you each and every day because of it. Thanks for supporting, and I'll see you tomorrow. Hey. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. Is the room empty? Did everyone go home? I got my water. Don't worry. I'm keyed in. You ready? All right, sit down. Get a coffee. Drink water. Pause. All right. You're good? Okay, we're going to start. Guys, that fourth quarter earning call terrified me. It's exciting to see the company's making money. Things are going the right direction for them. 4 packs, $400, $100 a pack. That stuff's coming. A lot more. And a lot more often. It won't be long before they start to bleed in some expensive ancillary products. The Ultra Collector. This growing up thing they've been doing. When you see those guys on Instagram with $500 Optimus Primes that transform. You see the tank guy for Megatron, which is silly because he was a handgun as a kid. But when you see those things transform, that is truly an intimidating thing to think there's kids out there, adults, who can spend that kind of money to buy that. I wish I had one. I wish I had one. I don't. Can't afford it. But I want one. But there are people who can afford it. There are people who buy this stuff. There will be people who can afford the ultra high-end Magic the Gathering. It's not happening yet. 30th anniversary was that ceiling. But they will push their way up there. They will find a way to get there. And it's going to come sooner rather than later. This was all a green light. Green light is go! 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 Ramble jamble! Straight ahead! Straight that way to Moneyland. Get ready for it because that money thing is going to happen. Anyway, thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for being here at the end of the video. Don't forget, tomorrow's the top 10. Hopefully, well, last week we didn't have a top 10. I had to do it on the Sunday because everything was broken. But this one seems to be holding up well. It is a little bit finicky in certain things like this camera. I have to kind of make sure I turn things off properly or it doesn't work. Anyway, that's beside the point. Thanks again for being here. Thanks for being supporters of the channel. I will see you guys tomorrow. Top 10. Be there. Be square. same time, 11:15 Eastern Standard.